Hey everyone. So, welcome back to this series of videos on creating a computer in Fusion 360 for Dr. Mindbender, the G.I. Joe classified figure. So, up to this point, I think this is part 4 that I am making right now. And we've made a few things. If you have not watched any of the previous videos, I would encourage you to go watch some of the previous videos, all of them really. Some of them are a little bit longer than others, but it gets you to the point where we are at today. Our goal for today is or for this video, is to create these screens, these 1, 2, 3 screens that kind of wrap around, and to create the keyboard right here so that we can have those for our computer console. Up to this point, we have created the base, we have created these little tables, and we have also created the stand and this computer screen up at the top. So let's move over to Fusion 360 and start to create. Here we are. Now, I've said this in my previous videos. I'll repeat this here as well. I am very much a beginner at Fusion 360. So if there are other things, other ways to do the things that I am about to do today, please let me know. Comment. Let other people know. Let's learn together. That's what this is all about. So, like I said before, we have created a number of different things. If I go over here to the left hand side and I open up this, expand this folder in bodies, the base was the first thing that we made. We can make it disappear and reappear by clicking on the little eyeball icon here. We created this table on the left, and we created it in such a way to where we made this little indentation, this little cutout on the base, so that if we want to later on make different items that can go into that area, we can create different items to swap them out. We created this little riser table on the right hand side with the same idea of there's a little cutout right here in the base so that we can replace this with something different at another time. And then finally we have, oh, this is the vent. I don't know why this is labeled as vent, so this will be a good time to change the color of this. This is not vent. This is I'll call this the stand. So you can see in the last video we created this stand, and this is where we're going to put all of our screens. So let's right click on vent 1 and let's rename it to call it, let's just call it stand. Screen, let's go screen stand. Let's call it that. Okay, there we go. And that's where we're going to work. A couple other little things, just navigating. If you didn't know this, if you are using a mouse, your middle button, which for me is the little scroll, if you click on that, you can pan things around. Click and hold, you can pan around. And if you hold down the shift key and click on that middle button, you can orbit around your item as well. So that's just a nice little thing that not everybody knows, especially if you're just starting out with Fusion 360, kind of like me. I learned it recently. All right, so here we go. Let's start off. Let's go back to our picture. I think what I want to do is start off with this screen right here in the middle. And if you don't know the history of these videos, I actually created all of this and then lost all of my work. Long story, I lost it all. Now I'm making it again, and by making it again, I thought I would make this little tutorial video. So let's go with this screen right here in the middle. All right, back to Fusion 360. So what we're going to do is create a sketch, which will be a rectangle. I'm going to click right here on sketch, and then it asks us for the plane that we want to draw this sketch. So I want it to be on this plane right here. So I'm going to click right there. It centers everything. But now what I'm about to draw will be on this plane that you can see is highlighted when I mouse over top of it. So there we go. All right. So I want to make a rectangle, but I want to make sure that my rectangle is centered on this riser, on this stand. So I want to make sure that it's centered. So there's a couple of different ways that we can find the center line of this stand. Let's do it like this. I am going to click on line, and if the center line should be on this green line right here, but if I'm going to zoom in a little bit down here. Well, there we go. I can kind of see it. I'll zoom in a little bit more. See where that X is, and you see that dotted line. As I haven't clicked on anything yet. When I get to there, now that little triangle tells me that I'm right in the center. If I keep going, I'm off the center again, but I want to be right in the center of this plane up here. So I know that I can't see this, but right there it is. So I'm going to click right there. I'm going to move this up. Now I need to zoom back out. Zoom back in. And unfortunately, I clicked right here and I want to move that. Now, this is one of those beginner things that I haven't figured out how to extend this just yet. So let's see if we can test that out. Now, right now, it wants to draw another piece of this picture, but I don't want to do that. So if I right click and click on cancel, come over here to cancel, now that other piece goes away. And my hope is that I can grab that dot, yes, and I can extend it up a little bit further. And if you notice, if I go far enough, it will take me right to there. Now, this middle line right here, I don't want it to really be a part of my sketch. I just want it to be something that's there as a construction that I can use. So I'm going to click on it to highlight it, and then come over here where it says line type, and I want to change it to a construction, and now it becomes a dotted line. Okay, so that's good. I just want this dotted line to be my center line on this plane. Now I haven't finished my sketch yet because I have not drawn my rectangle yet. So I discovered this recently, and this is kind of nice. I could take this rectangle tool and then try to draw this by hand, and I know it's centered and I'm using the grid lines. I could do all of that, and that's not too bad. That actually really isn't. That's pretty much what I want to make. But I'm going to hit undo. I'm going to undo that, and I want to draw this in a different way. I'm going to click on create, and then arrow down to rectangle. And I want this to be center rectangle. Okay, I'm going to use that. And if I do that, that's another way I can start right here somewhere. Let's say I wanted to start right here. I can click and drag, and now it from that point will create my rectangle. And I think I want to go with that right there. I like 200 across, 100 tall. I click right there. There we go. And I think that's what I want right there. I'm going to go with that. Okay. So I am satisfied with this sketch because right now all I'm doing is making this screen. I'm going to click on Finish Sketch. And now, click on the home button over here, you can see that there's the sketch, and that's kind of where I want my screen. Looks pretty good. If I click on Shift and the middle button on my mouse, I can orbit around, and I like the way that that looks. All right. So now I want to draw this screen out. See how there's some thickness to this screen? I want some thickness to this screen because it's not really a screen yet. It's not a solid piece. It's just a sketch. Now, I want this screen that I'm about to make, the main screen, to be the same thickness as this one up here. Now, if you did what I did, I don't remember the thickness of this entire screen. So I'm going to go to this Inspect tool, zoom in, and I'm going to click on this edge and this edge. And it tells me that the thickness over here, it tells me in two spots right there, is 7 millimeters. It also tells me over here that it's 7 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to close that. Zoom back out. I am going to extrude this sketch 7 millimeters. So I'm going to go over to the Extrude tool, click on that. And I got to be careful. If I just click right here, it's only going to extrude this rectangle. You can kind of see as I mouse over it, it highlights the rectangle on the left, the rectangle in the middle, and then the rectangle on the right. I want all three of these rectangles, and they're kind of cut because of the stand that I have. I want to extrude all three of them. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I already have this one highlighted on the left. Hold down the Shift key, select that one, hold down the Shift key, select that one. Now I have all three of these rectangles, and I can either grab this arrow and start to extrude like this, and it'll do it. Looks like it's going 10 at a time. That's too much. So I'm going to go right here and just change that to 7. And so now the thickness of this screen, if you will, is the same as the thickness of this screen up here. I am satisfied with that. And I do want to join this to the screen stand. I want this to be a part of my screen stand. So I'm going to leave this over here on the right. I could join it. I can create a new body as well, but I want this to be a part of the stand. So I'm going to leave it as join. Click OK. And there we go. So there's my screen. Now what you'll notice though is this screen, if I look at it from the front, there we go. This screen and this screen, I need the little indentation. I want there to be that bevel all the way around. So I don't have that yet. Right now, this is just a flat rectangle all the way across. So I want to create this little bevel right here. Well, I want it to be the same. I want to try to keep things consistent. So I need to figure out how deep did I cut this into the piece? So I'm going to go back to my inspect. I think it's 2. My gut tells me it's 2. I'm going to click on that edge, and yep, I cut over here on the side, 2 over on the right, 2 millimeters into my original piece. So I'm going to click on close. I'll go back to the front real quick. So what I want to do, sometimes I get ahead of myself with my mouse. There we go. I'm going to cut, just like up here on this screen, I'm going to cut a rectangle into this particular screen, if you will, to create this screen look, and then cut it into it. Now, the other thing that I need to figure out is how thick is this border, this bevel all the way around? I don't know if bevel was the right word, but let's measure that. So this is, click right there. I clicked on inspect, click right there. It is 2 millimeters in. Okay, so close that. So now if you remember, I believe, I'm going to use the inspect tool again. I believe that from here to here is 100. Yep, from top to bottom on my screen is 100. And from left side to the right side, it should be 200. Yep, 200. There we go. So if I want 2 millimeters all the way around, I want my screen that I'm about to cut into, I want this to be, 2 millimeters on the top and the bottom. 100 minus 4 is 96. And then on the left side and the right side, 200 minus 4 is 196. So here we go. Here's how we cut into this piece. I'm going to click on sketch, and I want to be on this particular plane. So I select it. Now it always homes itself on the center. I'm not sure how to not get that, but that's okay. I'm going to find the middle because I want to make sure that I'm centering this on this piece. So I'm going to go to line. This will give you a better look of what I was doing a little bit earlier. And the nice thing is it kind of snaps to this top edge. And when I get to here, right there, I see the triangle. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to drag this down to the bottom. And now it snaps to the bottom. Now remember, I want to make this a construction. I don't want it to be a part of my picture. So I'm going to right click and click cancel. Highlight that line that I just drew right in the middle, change it to construction, which makes it a dotted line. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is this. Click on create, and I'm going to come down here to point. So I'm going to click on point, and I want to put a point right in the middle of this dotted line from top to bottom. So if I mouse over it and keep following it right there, see the triangle? And I'm going to click. There's my point. Now I know that I am centered from top. I have this center line and I have this point, which is right in the center of my large rectangle. I'm going to click on right click and hit cancel. Now, when I go to create rectangle, center rectangle, this is really nice because I know I'm starting right in the middle of the screen. Click and drag. All right, I'm going to type in, I want from left to right, which is what's highlighted up there in blue. I want this to be 196. Okay, I'm going to hit the tab button, and over on the left, I want this to be 96. And I feel good about that. I'm going to hit enter. And now you can see that I have this 2 millimeter border all the way around my screen. And my sketch looks great. That's what I want. I'm going to click on finish sketch. And there we have it. Now, we still have these dotted lines in this point right here in the middle. You can leave those if you want, but if for some reason you don't want those to be there, you can just click on one and hit delete, and it will go away. Click on one, hit delete, hit delete, click on the point, hit delete. Now there's still a point there. That's because there was a point that I created on that center line, but there's also a point that I used to create that rectangle. So I'm just going to get rid of all of them. Now, if we orbit around, we can see that we have that sketch with the 2 millimeter border, but I haven't cut it into the screen yet. We're going to do that right now. So let's go to Extrude. I'm going to highlight this rectangle right in the middle. And as I zoom in here, notice that I have the rectangle, but I have not selected the border all the way around, which is good because I don't want that. Okay, now I want to cut into. So I could grab, once again, I could grab this arrow and pull it out or push it in or whatever. But if you remember earlier up here, I cut this screen in 2 millimeters. So I want to cut into, which means I'm going to go with negative 2 millimeters. If you do positive, it will extrude out from the piece. If you do negative, it will cut into the piece. And if you notice, since I put negative and I'm cutting into, over here on the right where it says operation, it says cut. This is what I want. I hit OK. And there we go. If I orbit around, you can see that my screen is now cut into that rectangle. There we go. Here, I can zoom in a little bit. It's a little bit easier to see. There's my cut. All right. All right, so now I have that screen. Well, if we go back to our original picture, click on home here. There we go. If we go back to our original picture that we're trying to recreate, I have a screen over here on the left and a screen over here on the right. So I want, I want to create those next. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do, let's orbit around to the back side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this stand and kind of make a cross. I'm going to extrude out to the left and extrude out to the right and extend it beyond this particular screen that we just created so that I can then bend it around and make these, let's go back to our picture, and make these screens angled a little bit. So you can kind of see right here where I have extended that that bar across the back side so that you can put these other screens. So let's do that first. All right, back to Fusion 360. Now I want to extend this, but I should say extrude. I want to extrude this from this plane. So I'm going to draw a sketch. Here we go, sketch. I want to be on this plane right there. It always centers. And I want to make that cross piece come out right about here, right in the middle. Now, the nice thing is I know where the center of this is going to be. It's going to be right there. There's my centerpiece. There's my center line right there. And if I zoom in a little bit further, that point right there is where my center is going to be. So I'm actually going to put a point there. Create point. This should snap, and it'll snap right there. I don't need to like find the center line and turn it into a construction and do all of that, because the way that we've created with the grid that we have already, I think we can just eyeball it and know that we are snapping to the center. So there's my point. Now I'm going to go to create rectangle, and I still want this to be a center rectangle, centered right there. I'm going to click and drag this. I think I want to go to right about there. Now here's where things get a little bit iffy, because now it's not snapping to anything. It'll snap to the height that I want, but it's not snapping to the width that I want. So I believe that the width of this is, well, let's take a look at the top. If I make it 10, I think it's 10. If you look right now, I just happen to stop right on 10. So I'm going to go with that 10. Then if I drag this out, it looks like this is 60. So I'm going to hit tab and go to 60, hit enter. And there is that light blue is my sketch. I think that looks good. Okay. I think that's about the size I want to make that crossbar. Might be a little bit bigger than what I made my original crossbar, but I like it. So I'm going to click on finish. And now click on shift, my middle button, orbit around. You can see that light blue rectangle, which is about to get extruded. So here we go. So I'm going to click right here. This is the piece this is the sketch that I want to extrude. And I don't know how far I want to go, so I'm going to grab the arrow and extrude it out and see. So right there is 100, but I think 100 is going to be a little bit too far. So I think I'm going to go 90. That looks good. And then what I'm going to end up doing, I think that looks pretty good. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take this side of my piece and turn it a little bit and kind of turn. I'm actually going to use a rotational tool. And once I have that rotational tool, I'll turn it at the angle that I want and bring it out in this other direction. So is 90 good? I think it is. I think I'm going to go with 90. Yep. So I'm going to click, and I want to join it. So let's leave this as join. I'm going to click OK, and there it is. So there's half of my cross section there. All right, let's make sure that we get one side right before we go to the other side. So I think what I'm going to do is use this revolve. Okay, I'm going to click on that. And it asks me, okay, what do you want to revolve on? What piece? Well, I want this edge right here to revolve, this side, I should say. And then it asks, what axis do I want to revolve around? And I want to revolve around this axis right here. At least I believe that's what I want to do. Yes. Okay. So you can see that now I have this tool. If I grab right here on the circle, I can start to revolve this around. Now I could go all the way around the other side if I wanted to, but I don't want to do that. I want to 45 degrees is not really what I want to be, because if I'm at 45 degrees, I don't think it's going to come out the way that I want. So I'm going to go a little bit further than 45 degrees. I think I want to go about, well, I don't want to go 90. I know that. 65. I'll tell you what, let's go 60. If this doesn't work, if I don't like the way that this looks, that's okay. I'll just hit undo and I'll go back and I'll change that angle. And I do want to join this. Let's click OK. And there we go. All right. So now what I'm going to do is take this side and extrude it out. So here we go. Let's click right here for extrude. I'm going to click on this face. I don't want to extrude this out like that. Now, as I'm looking at this, I can tell you right now that I think that that screen, I went too far with my angle. I can tell right now that I went way farther than I want to do, because now that screen, it's just too far. So I'm going to hit cancel on this, and I'm going to hit the undo button until I go back to my revolve. Oh, all I had to do was hit it once, and I'm going to revolve again. I'm going to go 45 degrees. Let's click on the revolve tool. This is the side I want. Go over here to select my axis, which is going to be that axis. I'm going to bring this around to 45 degrees. I think that's what I want to go with. Join it, hit OK. There we go. Now let's extrude. So extrude this side, starting to extrude it out. There we go. I'm liking that angle a lot better. Okay, I like that angle a whole lot better. All right, now how far do I want to go with this? Well, one thing that I need to keep in mind is I want my screen, I think I want to come out to about 80, because I want this particular screen to have some room. I want the same amount of room here as I have right in here between the two screens. So I think I'm going to go 80, and let's see if that is far enough. So I'm going to click OK. I want to join it, so let's leave it as join. And there we go. Okay, now I need to draw the sketch for this side screen. Let's click on sketch. This is the plane that I want. Hopefully you're getting better at this the same way that I have been. This is the plane I'm working with. I'm not going to find a center point because I actually don't want it to be centered on this particular rectangle. So I'm going to click here. And I know I want to start up on this side and then start to drag down here. Now I want it to be 100 tall. So actually I'm going to start right. I don't want to start right there. I want to start maybe, yeah, this is nice. So see how I moused over this corner and it kind of locked onto it. If I mouse straight up, it gives me this dotted line, which is great, this dashed line, because I want to start right there to place my first corner. And now I know I'm lined up with the edge. And I want it to be, well, up at the top, the width of this, originally I said 60. Let's see what 60 looks like. It looks like that. That looks a little bit skinny to me. So I think I'm going to go 65 and then hit tab, and I want it to be 100 tall. All right. I feel good about that, I think, because I want this piece and this piece to be about the same, if not exactly the same. So I'm going to hit finish sketch. Oops, there you go. I had a little bit of lag there. Finish sketch. And there's my sketch for my screen. All right, now I'm going to go a little bit faster on this one. I want to extrude this rectangle, this rectangle, this rectangle. If I remember correctly, I want it to be 7 millimeters thick. So I'm just going to type in 7. There it is. I want to join it to this other piece. I'm going to click OK. There is my secondary or my side screen. Kind of like the way that looks. All right, now I'm going to go a little bit faster, but I'm going to do the same thing I did over here. I'm going to click on sketch. I'm sketching on this plane. Let's go back to where I want to be. I want a 2 millimeter border around my screen. So I'm going to find my center point first. This is not the only way, by the way, but I'm going to along this top edge. There's my triangle. Click and drag. There we go. Right click, hit cancel. so that I can select that line that I just drew, make it a construction, click on Create, Point, then find my center point of this rectangle. There it is. It snapped to it. Click once. There it is. Now I'm going to go to Create Rectangle, Center Rectangle. Start from here. Start to drag out. And how big do I want it to be? Well, if you remember, it's 65 wide. So if I take 2 millimeters off of each side, I want this to be 61 from left to right. It's 100 from top to bottom. So if I hit tab and change that 100 to 96, now I should have a 2 millimeter border all the way around. And I do. Love it. Click on Finish Sketch. I personally don't like to see these dashed lines, so I'm going to highlight each one, delete them. I'm now going to extrude, use the extrude tool, click right here, and I'm actually going to extrude or cut into the piece -2, which is what I did over on the main screen over here. I like it. I want it to be a cut. It says cut. I hit OK, and there we have it. Okay, now I have cut my screen in, and that looks pretty good. Okay, I like where that's at. Now the only thing that I'm not sure of is if I look back at my original picture. Let's go back to the original picture. If I were to zoom in right here, which I can't do because this is just a picture, right there, is this the same size as what I have now? I'm not sure. Okay, is the distance from the left screen to the center screen going to be the same as what we're creating right now? I can't be 100% sure on that, so that's okay. I'll hit the home button. We can kind of look at it right there. That looks good enough to me. All right, let's do it on the other side now. All right, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to create a sketch on this plane. There we go. Let's find the spot I want to be. There it is. I'm going to go to rectangle. I'm going to do a center rectangle. And I'm going to snap. Right there is where I want to start. Start to click this out. I know I want it to be the same as the other. So I think I went 60. Yeah, there it is. 60 and 10. That's what I want. So everything looks good there. 10 wide, 60 from top to bottom. That looks good to me. I click on enter and finish my sketch. And there it is. That's the rectangle for my crossbar. I'm going a little bit faster because I've already done this once. Let's go extrude this piece. Now I can't remember how far out I went. I want to say I went out 60. Let's see if that's what I did. So bring this over here. Maybe it wasn't. I don't think it was 100. Yeah, that's too far. I think I went 90. There we go. Yep. So now let's do this. Now I want this part sticking out from the main screen to be the same as this. I think we're good. It was 90. I'm sure it was. All right, this looks good. I want to join it. So leave it as join. Click OK. A little bit of lag there, but that's okay. Now I'm going to rotate, use the Revolve tool. This is the side, highlight it. The axis I want to revolve around is right there. I'll zoom in a little bit, change my angle right here. And if we remember right, we went 45 degrees. Okay, 45 degrees. There it is. Click OK. There we go. Now I want to extrude this edge out. This is where I don't remember. I want to say it was 60. If I'm not sure, what I can do is this. I can click on the inspect. Ooh, it looks like it finished that for me. If I go from here to this edge here, yeah, it was Oh no, it wasn't 60, it was 80. It was 80. Now this says 80.3 because it's kind of going, whoops, it's going at an angle, okay, because I'm not on the same plane. So let's click close on that. I need to go back, and this part right here needs to be extruded out 80, not 60. So I'm going to hit the undo button. It goes back in. So we learn together, right? Some of you are probably laughing at me and saying, write this stuff down. Okay, that's okay. I do that lots of times, but right now I'm not. So let's grab that, bring it out 80. There we go. Now it's going to join. Click OK. Love it. There we go. All right. Now let's make this other screen. Let's see. Sketch. And I want to be on this plane. Let's get back to the workspace that I want to use. What about there is good. All right. I'm going to start at this corner. Oh, I want to go rectangle. I'm going to start at this corner and go straight up right there. Click and drag. And I know I want it to be 60 wide and tab 100 tall. There we go. Hit enter. And there is my sketch. Click on finish sketch. Now I'm going to extrude this rectangle, hold down the shift key, this rectangle. We are making this 7 thick. It is joined. We hit OK. We go back to actually create the screen by clicking sketch on this plane. Let's get back to the spot where I want to actually work. I'm going to click on line to find my center line. There's the triangle. It snaps to it. Bring this to the bottom. There we go. Right click, cancel so that I can just highlight that line, change it into a construction. I want to find my center point. So I click on point, travel up this line, and there it is. There's my center point. Now click on create, rectangle, center rectangle, and here we go. Now this was, what did I say, 60? Oh, you know what? I did this wrong. It was 65 by 100. Okay, this that I have over here is no good. That happens sometimes. All right, made a mistake. That's all right. We just go undo. We just click on undo, 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 undo. Keep undoing until we get to this spot. I'm just going to redraw this entire sketch. Don't like the way that is. Let's click on undo again. Here we go. Rectangle. I want it to be 65. Sometimes I get angry at myself. So let's make this 65. There we go. Tab 100. There we go. There's my sketch. Finish sketch. Extrude this rectangle. Hold down the shift key because I want all 3 of these to be extruded by 7. So I can either grab the arrow or just type in 7. There we go. It is joined. Click OK. Now it's the size that I want. Let's go back to create the actual screen. Click on my center button to pan to where I want. Let's go line. Find that center line again. There it is. Drag to the bottom. Right click, cancel. Highlight that center line, make it a construction, dashed line. Create, point, find my center point. There it is, it snaps. And now create rectangle, center rectangle. Start right there on that point, click and drag. All right, now I remember it was 65 wide, so I want it to be 60. I want the screen to be 61. Hit tab. It was 100 tall, 2 millimeters at the top and 2 millimeters at the bottom makes this 96. Now I have 2 millimeters all the way around and finish my sketch. All right. I don't like those dashed lines being there, so I'm going to highlight them and delete them. Now extrude that center rectangle negative to, it will become a cut. I click OK, and there is my other screen. All right, let's look at this from the front. Zoom out. There it is. I like that. I got my top screen. I got my middle screen. I've got these two screens over here. I like the way that that looks. And there we go. I tell you what, um, I'm going to stop this video right here. Okay. Originally, I thought that I would go ahead and make the keyboard as well in this video, but I'm not going to do the keyboard. I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to make another video with the keyboard. And I think this one's been going on long enough. And there we go. So at this point in time, we have almost recreated our original piece. I don't think it's exactly the same, but I do like the way that it looks. And there we go. I'm going to stop right there. Hopefully you've learned some things. Like I said before, please feel free to comment. If there are better ways to do what I am doing, comment so that we can all learn together. And I appreciate anyone who is watching this and following along with me. In the next video, I'm going to make the keyboard, and then I'm also going to put a cobra symbol somewhere on the piece as well, because we want to stylize it a little bit too. All right. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed your time, and hopefully you have a great day.